Jablam Hockey, folks. I'm your host, Peter Bojarinov. You can find me on Twitter at Russian98, and I am with
Conner Rowntree. You can find me on Twitter at The Sport Tree.
And of course, you can find both of us at Jablam Hockey on Twitter, and of course, jablamhockey.com on the interwebs. So, before we get into trending now, what do we have this episode? All right, well, we are team icing the Florida Panthers with special guest Todd Little of LitterBotCats.com. We got to compare rookie edition, top 5 current rookies with Connor, and some fantasy up and down with me, and we'll finish up with some Saturday's picks. But first, trending now. There's a few crazy things happening right now.
Yep, there's always some fun in the world of sports, but what leads it off this week?
I think we'll first go with Chance the Rapper.
Chance the Rapper, yeah, Saturday Night Live, probably the best skit of the year. I think Chance the Rapper single-handedly won Saturday Night Live with his New York Rangers skit. He's basically the Knicks reporter. The Rangers reporter gets sick or something, and he takes over, and he's got no idea what he's talking about hockey, and just as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
There's a few classic lines. Like, I liked how he was mentioning how cold it was, and at the end he's like, and that's it from hell. Yeah. Because hell hath frozen over. Oh man, it was pretty funny. I thought it was some parts were okay, like the Brady Shea part where he comes in the player.
And it's just SKJ. That's a no. Yes.
So it was all right, and talking to him, and the hockey answers. We're used to the hockey answers. They were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get the pucks in deep. Hopefully we don't get some penalties, and that's what coach says." That was okay, but Chance did a pretty good job on there, and I like that we, of course, with our game notes, we always put down all of our stuff, especially training now, right on jablamhockey.com. But tweet, and we're going to post it from Brett Tigrillis, I believe. He got a reaction from Brady Shea, and he basically said that the skit was hilarious, and Shattenkirk and Brady were both watching it live, and he didn't know that he was going to be getting 30 texts right away. So it's pretty funny, too, that they were watching it live, too.
Yeah, you got to check that out for sure.
Yeah. And then, what else? I don't even have my rundown up right now.
Is it lumberjack chopping time? Is it that time?
Yeah. So, Philadelphia Flyers, Radko Gudas, who I don't mind. Again, I don't mind the Bruisers, but sometimes they do.
It's so bad.
Sometimes they do horrible things.
You have to mind that.
Yes. So he basically
he goes full Paul Bunyan. He goes full American folk hero. Grabs his axe, aka his stick, sees Perreault's head down, and fully hits him in the neck, basically lobbing his head off. It's bad.
It is brutal. You almost put him in. I was saying the guillotine. Again, I hate how people are like, "Oh, he didn't intend to do it." It doesn't matter if you intended or not. You did it. "Oh, I didn't intend to kill that guy. The gun went off by accident."
You still get manslaughter, at least. At least, at bare minimum. But there's no possible way you bring your stick. I understand he's not looking at Perreault. He's looking at the puck. The play's in the corner. But there's no possible way you bring your stick down with that much force and not try to hit somebody. Why? Like, what's he gonna do? Go like, the ice. Like, obviously he's trying to hit the guy with his head down.
What was that noise you just made? The ice?
Yeah, I don't know. It was guy gets. You should just go ant. 09 Chell. When you get whenever you get ant. Yeah, but no, that's bad. I don't know. That's really bad.
The best is the response again from Flyer fans out there. Good job, guys.
Even worse, actually. That might be the one thing worse than this slap.
A lot of them were like, "Oh, that should have been a 2-minute penalty. The refs only gave him 5 because they looked at the video up there, and then they gave him the major." I'm like, what? Come on, guys. Another one. Again, we'll move on. It's 10 games. He could have got more, but I'm okay.
I think that's a fair penalty. I think he got the right suspension, but just don't do that ever again. Mm-hmm. Nobody. Kids, don't do that.
Yeah. Another thing that a lot of people are complaining about on Leafland, and that's Austin Matthews' beautiful game-tying goal against, who did they play against again? Arizona. So yeah, again, I'll just quickly gloss over Austin Matthews not playing very well against his home state, right? Is it? No? Maybe? Well, I don't know. So maybe Matthews didn't play his great game, or maybe his worst game this season. But he tried to step up, and he did at the end in the last 7-8 minutes. And it was a beautiful play. But Hyman speared the goalie in the throat.
Yeah, it's pretty... It's one of those, we were talking before, and it's one of those, when you look at it, it's tough to really call. Like, It's one of those plays where it could really go either way. But the facts of the matter is, Niemi's deep in his crease, like you said.
Not Niemi. Is it Niemi? No. It's, man, I'm really scoring. Ranta. Auntie Ranta. Yeah.
One of the two. No, it's Auntie Ranta, sorry. Yeah. Lots of letters in those names. Lots of vowels, actually.
Yeah, I keep on forgetting. Whenever I type in Ronta's name, is it the A? Is it the N or the T? What gets doubled? Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah. What were we talking about?
So Hyman basically
pushes
Ranta deep into his crease, which he's already deep into his crease. I don't know.
He pushes him into the net.
Yeah, he pushes him into the net. And then...
That's where we were, yeah. Whether it's deliberate or not, you cannot make contact with the goaltender in their crease.
Yeah.
That's the modern rules. Now, I understand you got pushed from behind and there was two defensemen and you kind of got sandwiched and the stick got jabbed forward.
The stick's already there to begin with. And if the guys kind of push him a little bit, nudge him even more, it doesn't matter. The main thing is Ranta gets pushed into net. He tries to cover very fastly, in my mind. If people are looking at the replay and they're like, 15 seconds. 15 seconds, my butt. It was like 2 seconds he had to recover, which I'm surprised he recovered so well and easily to try to save the Austin Matthews shot, and he couldn't. And in my mind, if you're Connor, tell me what your reaction. You've had pucks hit you in the neck or sticks and stuff.
Yeah, well,
can you react that quickly?
No, you're not going to react that quickly at all. One, you're probably stunned at that point. Two, you obviously want to keep in the play, as we talked about. Thank goodness Ratna kept playing, unlike a guy like Jonathan Quick, who would have been shot dead behind the house at that point.
He would have been down and out, and no question, there would not be a goal allowed. So are you blaming Ranta for being a goalie that is not as dazed or focused or isn't a diver to try to make that big save late in the game for his team? Are you going to blame him for that? Or are you going to allow the Quicks and the Tim Thomases and the Mike Smiths in the world to just let flop like soccer players?
Yeah, just because goaltenders move quickly around the crease doesn't mean it's easy. Matthews is a quick guy. He's got a lightning shot. He's going around the crease, gets up to maybe the face-off dot before he lets that shot fly. Yeah. There's no way that you can recover from getting a stick in, whether it just hit you in the cage, in the throat, push back into your net, across the crease, and get set. Yes, he was over there, but that does not mean that he was ready and set to stop the puck. He didn't get up. Yes, maybe he could have had time, but remember, it's a modern-day NHL. All goalies use the butterfly style. To get back up, to go back down again, that's going to take even more time. So he made everything that, if you watch the video, Ratna made the right play.
Yeah.
And I don't see how it could be anything but goaltender interference looking back. But the refs had a tough call.
I still want to mention a few more things. Number one, you're getting pushed, you're getting nudged, there's going to be a reaction. When I said soccer players, some of them dive, some of them don't. It's a reactionary play that sometimes happens. When players get high-sticked, sometimes they don't get high-sticked, but their reaction is the whiplash reaction because they see a stick coming towards their face. It sucks being a referee or in any league trying to make the right call on these such quick plays. Be there at any league, but a fast league like hockey, I'm shocked at how well sometimes these refs make the call. And sometimes they don't make the call.
I think they made the right call last night for the simple purpose. Yes, I do think it was a 50-50 call. It could have gone either way, but I think they made the right call to really set a tempo with one of the big franchises in the league, the biggest franchise in the league, and say, hey, these are the new rules. This is how the game's going to be played. Follow the rules, or it's not going to count.
Yeah, and sometimes they miss the call. Like, you hope that if that happened to Anderson, I want the call the same way. I want them to make the call. But again, two things that bother me. Number one, on top of this is, if it's no goal, why isn't there a penalty on Hyman? Is that not enough of a penalty or an infraction to give him 2 minutes? But again, I've never seen, and this bothers me, I've never seen the NHL give a penalty and a no-goal call, which sometimes they need to do that. Yeah. Why don't you do that, NHL? If a guy makes an infraction, again, if it's a slight nudge, no goal.
I don't think Hyman should have got a penalty on that play because I don't think it was intentional.
But you're going with intentions then.
No, I understand that, and you can't judge that. But if you could sit back and judge it, like, I think it's the right call. No goal. I don't think there should have been a penalty because Hyman was pushed into the goaltender, but the fact is it was goaltender interference.
I don't know. I think Hyman could have got a penalty there because it's still a stick at the goalie, pretty much almost his throat in my mind. But then again, he's deep in his crease. It's not like he's at the edge of the crease. He's not outside of the crease. He's deep in his crease, and there's a stick coming to his throat. But then again, and on the Leaf side, and I understand you're pissed off that Anderson gets hit, but he's way out of his crease behind the net. If you're playing the puck, like, he's free game, basically. So again,
as long as you're, in my opinion, as a goaltender, if you're out of your crease playing the puck, and you have the puck on your stick, and you can see some guy coming at you, it's fair game. As long as you don't get hit from behind, you don't get clipped, you don't get slew-footed, you don't get slashed, blindsided, boarded.
So
a clean hit's a hit.
Any contact.
Just don't aim for the head.
All right, time for Team ISO. Of course, it's where we specifically talk about one team, and we go out to the blogospheres, and we get a better idea of what's going on out there. This week, we are Team ISOing the Florida Panthers, and we have special guest Todd Little from Litter Bought Cats. And I stumbled on Litter, talking too much about that. And, of course, you can find Todd Little at Todd Little 827. Todd, is there that many Todd Littles on Twitter?
No, that's just my birthday. There's only a few of us, I think.
Okay. And, of course, you can find litterboxcats.com, their own special account specifically on Twitter at litterboxcats. Todd, let's get right into it. There's been some changes with the Florida Panthers coming into the season. Demers is gone. Riley Smith, who I like, is gone. A lot of people like Marchessault. They both left to the Vegas Golden Knights. How has the team adapted, or have they not adapted yet to some big changes?
Yeah, well, I think the losses in the expansion draft really hurt the depth of the team and the secondary scoring. I mean, the biggest problem with the team right now, or at least over the first 13 or 14 games of the season, was the defense. But still, I mean, losing that forward depth and Riley Smith. I know he didn't have the best year offensively last year, but the guy's a good defensive forward, and he's a good penalty killer. And the Panthers' penalty kill has been a big problem to start the season. And I think that's where they've missed him the most. And you see both of those guys are putting up good numbers for Vegas. So when you see that, your instinct is to be like, man, what the hell were they doing this summer? Why did they let these guys go? And elect to, protect all the defensemen, which, none of those guys that they protected are really shining. So it's, I didn't understand it then. I don't understand it now, and I don't think I'll ever understand it.
Yeah, I think we've already mentioned a little bit on the show. It was kind of odd with the whole GM scenario and everything that was happening with that. With Rowe, was just a bad off year. So hopefully they're going in the right move, and maybe is the right move adding from the KHL Yevgeny Dadonov. How he's looked pretty good so far.
Yeah, that was a really good signing. He's looked good on the first line. There's been a couple games. The last game they moved him down to play with Trocheck just to try to get more scoring beyond they have 4 guys basically doing all the scoring, so they moved him down a line. But it looks like he's going to be back on the top line in tomorrow night's game. But he's been really good. It took him a couple games, I think, to adjust to being back in the NHL. But no complaints with that signing at all. The Verbata signing, that hasn't really worked out yet. I mean, he's hurt right now. Hopefully, when he comes back, he'll get it going at some point. I mean, he scored 3 goals. You look at his numbers. He's got 11 points in 19 games. That seems okay on the surface, but all 3 of his goals came in one game. So then you look at the rest of it; it's 8 assists in the other 18 games, which is pretty disappointing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But let's go to a guy that's, in my opinion, very underrated, and I really like. You already mentioned him. It's Vinny Trocheck, leading the team, 9 goals. He got 21 points. I think he's top 20 in the full NHL. He's really taken another step this year.
Yeah, he's looked great. I mean, if they could clone him and get 3 or 4 more of them on the team, they'd be a lot better. But yeah, he's great. I mean, he comes to play every night. He puts up numbers no matter who's on his line. He's just he's just been a really good find from the 3rd round pick. So he's worked out really well. So no complaints there. I mean, if they could surround him with a couple of steady line mates that could pick up the slack as far as providing the secondary scoring goes, they'd be a lot better off. But he just, no matter who they throw him out there with, he gets his points and he puts forward a great effort every night.
All right, before we get to some goaltender prospects, let's talk about the guys currently in the crease. Reimer has not looked good at all this season. I think he's a .888 save percentage, 3 wins, 6 losses. Luongo also didn't look very good, but he's picked it up lately. .930 or above save percentage in 4 of the last 5 games. How's that scenario working? Why is Reimer sharing almost 50% of the games, and then now why is Luongo starting to pick it up?
Well, I don't think that split would be there if Luongo had been healthy all season. That's where Reimer, kind of made up some starts but Luongo wasn't playing that great before he got hurt. But since he's come back from the hand injury, he's been really, really good. The first game against the Rangers, he gave up 5 goals, but I think they threw him in there after 1 practice, and he wasn't really ready. But they just threw him in there, I think, just to get the rust off, and because Reimer wasn't playing that great anyway, so I guess they just figured they'd throw him back in there even if he wasn't totally ready. Mm-hmm. But after that, since that game against the Rangers, he's been really, really good since he came back from the injury. And Reimer, I don't know. Like sometimes, every once in a while, he looks really good, but he's just so inconsistent.
Do you think Luongo can share that big load on his shoulders going further into the season, and if the Florida Panthers could make the playoffs as well?
I think he's going to have to. I think that's pretty much one of the only ways they're going to make, unless the rest of the team really picks it up. I mean, it's gonna have to be on Luongo getting, taking back-to-backs out of it where they have to play Reimer, in one of the 2 games. I mean, if the schedule works out right, I mean, for me, I want to see Luongo in there, 3 out of every 4 games.
Yeah.
And I think that's the only way that they're really going to get back into contention if they're going to do it.
Well, looking to the future of in the crease, because obviously Reimer isn't a number 1 goaltender in the NHL caliber, and Luongo's now 38 years old. You have 2 goaltending prospects, Samuel Montembeault and Ryan Bernard. Starting with Montembeault, he had a phenomenal postseason run 2 years ago, posting a .925 save percentage. That's when he really got on everyone's radar. This year in the AHL, he's right around the .900 save percentage and a goals against average of 3. And then Bernard, on the other hand, he wasn't a part of the organization, a couple of years younger. And at Bowling Green this season, he's off to a phenomenal start at a .928 save percentage and a goals against average of just 2. So do you think that the Panthers have to go outside to solve their future goaltending issues or their goaltending issues? Or do you think one of these 2 guys can step up and take over the reins?
I think the answer to that question is how fast is Montembeault going to get up to speed as far as being an NHLer. I mean, another bad thing with the Panthers right now, and this is going back at least a few years, if not longer, is their AHL team is always lousy too. So I think they all. I mean, I think they had a 3 or 4 game winning streak, but before that, they were the worst team in the AHL. But he's looked better the last couple weeks. That the team's picked it up a little bit. He's giving them quality starts. He had a shutout this weekend, so that's encouraging. But is he going to be ready? Is he going to be ready to play in the NHL next year? If something happens to Luongo where he would have to retire after this year, the answer to that is no. I think he's going to need to be in the AHL at least, one more season after this one. But if Luongo can make it through this year, which, the last couple of weeks he's looking really good. So there's, he's providing quality goaltending, so that's encouraging that maybe next year he can do it one more year, and then maybe that'll be it. And then Montembeault will be ready the year after that. I'm thinking that's the plan. To get maybe 2 more years at this year, next year, and maybe 1 more year after that out of Luongo. Because right now, you can't look at Reimer and say, okay, if something happens to Luongo, this is going to be our guy. This is the guy that's going to take us to the playoffs on a consistent basis. I just don't see it.
Well, now looking at sorry there, Todd. Looking outside the crease, have a very interesting prospect in Henrik Borgstrom. A lot of people thought that the Panthers could have got him in the second round of the draft a while ago. Last season, his first season in North America at the University of Denver, 37 games played, 43 points, and he won the national championship. Do you think that he has the tool sets and the size and capability? Obviously, he's big enough at 6'3", right around 195 pounds. But do you see him striding into a top 6 forward? Because there's still a lot of debate out there if he can develop into that.
I think so. He's definitely got the skills. You watch the highlights, from University of Denver, and everybody's real excited about him. He's got 13 goals in 11 games so far this season. So, he's a little, he's got the height. He's still a little thin. But hopefully, over the course of this season, he can add some muscle maybe next off season. And hopefully he'll be ready to play with the Panthers next year.
Cool. Thanks for coming on the show, Todd. But before we leave you, what do you think the Panthers' chances are to coming back and maybe trying to sneak into the playoffs this year? Is there a chance? Do you think there could be one?
You never want to say never, but I would say if there's a chance, it's pretty slight.
Mm-hmm.
They've tightened things up a little bit. First 13 games of the season, they were giving up goals at an alarming rate. They've cut that down, by a pretty decent clip the last 7 games. But it seems to cut down the goals against. It's affected their offense, by the same token. So now, they weren't having too much trouble scoring goals. They were losing high scoring games. Now, they're still losing a fair share of games, but now they're not scoring that much, even though they're giving up less goals. So, the hope is that whatever system Bob Bugner is putting in, there's some people down here that are like, what's going on here? It doesn't look like they have any system at all, really. Especially in the early goings of the season when they were giving up so many goals. But hopefully they're starting to get his system and they are cutting down on the goals against. So if they can just get some secondary scoring, they should be able to win their fair share of games. Can they, usually when you're not in a playoff spot by Thanksgiving, you usually don't end up making the playoffs. So I would say the odds are stacked against them. But, hopefully they can, reel off a nice winning streak sometime soon and get back into the chase.
Mm-hmm. Well, Tom, the Atlantic is pretty open with Montreal not playing too well, maybe Boston as well. There could be some openings there, so you never know. Thanks for coming on the show again, Todd. Compare Rookie Edition. All right. So first we'll go with some rookie forwards who are doing really well. And I'm going to go with the obvious choice, Clayton Keller. And you're going to go with Matthew Barzal.
You know it.
All right, you go first.
Well, I'm getting put on the hot seat, but Matthew Barzal, my opinion, he is definitely the best playmaker in the 2017-18 rookie class. He's got 15 helpers on the year, which leads the rookie class, and he's averaging just under a point per game, 19 points in his first 20 games. This season, obviously, the BC native, he has unbelievable playmaking ability, as I said. His timing, he knows when to pass the puck and how to get it there. He's got excellent touch, and he's got the players around him, great finishers around him, like Jordan Eberle, like John Tavares, that you can separate them, you can put them with those guys, you can separate those guys, you can mix and match, and he's been really effective to this point of the season. So I really think that Barzal, well, no, he doesn't have the shot that Clayton Keller has. He's got the ability to exceed expectations because of the team around him and because of his vision and timing.
Wow, I'm glad that you wrote the blog, so you already had something prepared to talk about these guys. And then we decided to do who's comparing who right before we started recording this.
He got picked.
Yeah.
He got first pick on this one, so.
No, again, you got first pick with the Butcher thing, but it's good. It's fine. So, are you going to use that again for your next part and then talk about the same stuff in your segment after this with your top 5?
Nope.
Okay. All right, so yes, I've got Clayton Keller, and we both picked Clayton Keller before the season even started for the obvious consensus number 1 pick to win the Rookie of the Year, the Calder Trophy. And you mentioned even before we were recording that you think he's a bit of a mix between Matthews and Marner. If we're even putting him remotely close...
I said Matthews and Kessel.
Oh, sorry. Even better, in my opinion. So,
yeah, it is.
so yes, that's great. I haven't barely watched the Coyotes, but I know I've seen videos of Keller before even the season began. He's great. He's got a great quick release. He's sneaky good too, which is what I like about him. And again, it's so easy for him to win the Calder too because he's going to get so much ice time because the Coyotes are so bad. Yeah. So, you can go either way.
I mean, the way I look at it is Clayton Keller, well, he probably is the more all-around better hockey player. He's got such a high hockey IQ. I think Matthew Barzal is in a better opportunity to win the Calder as of right now. He's got better team in front of him. Yeah, he's got better line mates. He's on a team that's actually trending in the right direction right now. Obviously, Arizona got a win in Toronto last night. They've been able to squeak out a couple wins this season.
Against all these Canadians, they go on the East Coast and they just take out Montreal, who's finally playing a little better, take out the Sens, who are playing fairly well, and then they stop the Leafs' 6-game win streak. I don't know what's happening with
Fact
this
of the matter is, Matthew Barzal has a better opportunity at this point in the season, I think, at winning the Calder Memorial Trophy.
All right, so who do you think is going to win it in the end, though?
I think as of right now, I would have to give it to Keller because of the way he's been performing.
Yeah.
And on the team, he's on a lesser team. He's leading rookies in scoring. He's had a couple beauty assists and setups. But the thing is, through a prolonged season, there's going to be ups and downs. He's a rookie. He's a fiery kid. He was in the World Juniors.
Yeah.
We all saw that. So if his emotions stay in check and he can keep rolling, great. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Barzal may be able to push it. Although everyone likes the flashy goal scorer over the assist guy.
Yeah, no, Keller leading in points, 11 goals already. He's getting almost 20 minutes of ice time. He's going to continue to get that. He's got to be the easy choice. All right, let's go to defensemen. I got Mikhail Sergachev from the Lightning, and you got Will Butcher, the college kid, on the Devils. Again, Sergachev, he's only playing 14 minutes a game, and he's putting up pretty good numbers. He's first in goals by rookie defensemen, 5. Solid points. He's a plus 18. Nobody expected this too. We kind of expected because Butcher, his age, right? He'd be more NHL ready. Nobody expected Sergachev to be this NHL ready all in his career, and he already looks like he's a fine fit for a top 4 role.
Go ahead. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Will Butcher is on a way lesser of a team and has impacted his team so much more, in my opinion. The former Hobie Baker winner, he plays more minutes. He's leading, he's in second in overall rookie assists with 14. Leading rookies, defenseman in assists, 20 games, 16 points. Yes, he is 22 years old, so he has that age gap, but he's playing on a worse team. Yeah, you talk about his plus 16 rating, but that's at this point in the NHL, that's more of a team stat. Yes, it does mean a lot, but where Butcher's being thrown to the dogs and the wolves and playing 16 minutes, covering top 4 minutes, Sergachev has the opportunity and the ability to play more of a depth role, to play teams lesser forwards, to get out there on power plays. He's got guys, Victor Hedman's in front of him, Strawman's in front of him, who I'd say Butcher's probably the best defenseman on the Devils to this point of the season, where that is not the case with Sergachev. And there's no doubting his progress has been unbelievable. He's a great power play quarterback, but I think Butcher's a better power play quarterback. I think that he's made more of an impact towards his team. You're right on the age thing. There is no argument with that, but I really think that Sergachev's stats to this point in his career are inflated by his team.
I think it kind of can go both ways, too, because, again, Butcher is not also top pairing defenseman.
No.
He's not up there. He's not versus the top lines on the other team, just like Sergachev. And they've gotten that, which is good. Surprisingly, we're both surprised how well the Devils are actually playing. They're, the best in the Metro? Come on, that division?
That's the best. In my opinion, last year that was the best division in hockey. This year, obviously, the teams are struggling, but I think they're struggling because they're playing each other.
Yeah, and the Devils look fast, and good quarterbacking by Butcher, and as well Sergachev on Lightning. I think it's almost very close to a tie, but I think in the long run, at the end of the season, I don't know, I still feel that Sergachev has the tools to be better and still grow faster, and could have this late edge for sure in the future, but maybe as early as the end of this year or in 2-3 years.
I think Sergachev is in a more ideal place to excel, especially with his style of play with guys like I said, Victor Hedman in front of him, an offensive defenseman that does play the back end really, really nicely. So I think he's in a better position to excel, but this season right now, without a doubt in my mind, Will Butcher is more valuable to his team. He's been put into harder situations, and I feel like he really has stepped out of any shadow that could have been casted by Nico Hischier going into the season. That first game against the Avalanche, Butcher went off. He made a statement early, and he is still living up to his hype. Last 2 games, he's got goals in back-to-back games. So he hasn't really slowed down. I think he's steady at a solid production pace. So I really think Will Butcher this season has the edge on the rookie defenseman. I do agree with you that Sergachev may develop in the long run. As you said, he is 19. But for where they are right now, I have to give it to Will Butcher.
Yeah. You know what? I still think it's close. And who makes a bigger impact? I don't know. Maybe it is Butcher. But maybe it's Sergachev. Because Butcher has no game-winning goals. And Sergachev has 3, leading all rookies, including forwards.
When your team scores 20 goals a game like the Lightning have, no, okay, obviously not 20, but the Lightning are the highest scoring team in the league. When all you have to do is chip the puck off the glass for Steven Stamkos to get it, it's pretty easy to get an assist.
When you're chipping
the puck off the glass and Anders Lee is getting it, it's a little different.
Yeah, but he's scoring the game-winning goals.
He's scoring the game-winning goals from beautiful setups from very talented forwards. The Lightning are a deeper team offensively. They just are. He has more of an opportunity to excel offensively than Will Butcher. I think Butcher has come through in the clutch.
Connor hates losing, and he lost.
I don't think so.
All right, continue. Go with your top 5 rookies, and which you have a blog, too, that's going to be coming out, too, for that.
Yeah, make sure you tune in. That blog will be up hopefully tomorrow, as soon as tomorrow. Clayton Keller is my number 1. We just talked about it. It's pretty simple. The 11 goals, as you mentioned, and he is showing all signs of developing into a top 6 threat in the NHL. Especially what I find amazing with Butcher is the fact that he is a rookie and he's been able to take the spotlight off of guys like Max Domi, who scored his first goal since the first game of the season last night in Toronto, and it was an empty net. So Max Domi's playing terribly, but no one's even focusing on that because of how well Clayton Keller's been
It
playing.
wasn't an empty net. I think Zaitsev was in the crease.
Yeah, well, close enough. No, we're not wearing goalie equipment. Will Butcher, I love Will Butcher, so he's my number 2. I already filled you in why. I have Barzell at number 3. I think, as I said, he's the best playmaker. One guy that I really, really like, Brock Besser on the Vancouver Canucks. We talked about him a little bit earlier this year. No, he doesn't have the points that the other guys on the list have, but 17 games, 17 points. Well, he may not have as many. He's still on the point-per-game pace. He's a big guy. He likes to throw the body around. He got off to an excellent start last year, 9 games. He got the 4 goals. This year, well, as I said, 17 points, 17 games. So he's my number 4.
And wait, if you want to see his 5th, go read the blog on JablinHockey.com. Connor, it's time for some fantasy up and down, all right? I'm doing it this time, not you.
I like it.
All right,
Although I'm in first place.
What do you mean?
In our fantasy hockey league. Jablam Fantasy Hockey.
Yes, in the one that we do on YouTube, yes. You're killing it. And I'm like right behind you, but I think I get 4th place because we are in the same division.
We're in the same division, yeah.
It's unfortunate for you because I was in that same position, but remember, you're taking 4th place notes, not first place notes.
All right. I was going to compliment Connor, but I still will. Connor told you all about RNH last 2 weeks ago in the previous episode, before the last episode. He's still only at 2%. What? Held?
Owned.
Owned is the word. Owned is the word.
Is.
And again, overall, 64th best in the whole all of fantasy in the last 2 weeks, and 71st best in the last month. So he's still consistently been good the last month. Go out and take him, folks. He's putting up big numbers. If you need that good, second or third line center type guy on your team, you should go out and get Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. I like to call him the Nuge. No. I like to call him R-Hop. N-Hop. N-Hop is the name I gave him before I heard about the nickname the Nuge. That's what I used to call him.
RNH. That works.
RNH works too.
RNH I don't like. It kind of sounds like a Hot Wheel car.
Yeah.
Anyway,
well,
continue.
stay tuned for in our future episode. We'll be doing some crazy cool nickname segments. But let's go into some other guys. A guy that I took a few weeks ago, it's Jason Zucker. Again, he is pretty high owned, 67%, but he should be way up there. 19th best overall in the last 2 weeks, 58th best in the last 30 days. 8 goals in the last 2 weeks. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's big. You got to pick that guy up. He wasn't on my radar, so thank you, Peter.
Yeah, I don't know.
Helping me out. I'm gonna actually. Oh, you just said you picked him up.
Yeah, I already took him. I don't know if it's in our pool though. I don't know. I know he took him in one of them. Yeah, I only have 2. I'm not like some crazy people.
I have 2 as well.
That's fine. And again, he's playing with Koivu Granlund, so you should take him. I've got a few other guys on there I'd recommend, but I want to talk about the defense. Take all the Duck defensemen. They're all good. There's Lindholm, there's Vatanen. They're both only like 22 and 13% owned, like barely. But they missed a few games. They haven't played a few, but they're steady. They're both play over 21 minutes a game. They both are in the top 200, which is great for a defenseman. But then my number one guy, which I already took in at least one of them, it's Brandon Montour. He's only 44% owned, but he's 48th best overall, including all players in the last 2 weeks. He's great. People should take him. He puts up a lot of points in different categories, all different categories. He's putting up points, so people should take him. And again, for the down, I wanted to talk about the guys that everybody owns that you should sit them at least. And
This is good.
yeah, you're going to love it. Brent Burns, you should sit him. Seriously, he's 228th in the last 2 weeks.
But what happens if he goes out and scores a hat trick one of these games? I think you're right with Brett Burns. Actually, you know what? You're right. He is playing badly.
They're all playing badly.
He isn't producing. Well, who's next then?
So 3 assists for him in the last month. No goals.
Yeah,
Come on.
really bad.
Duncan Keith.
I agree with that.
He's 527th in the last 2 weeks. Over 500 in the last month. No goals. -3. Awful. don't play Keith. Trade him if you can, in my opinion.
I would do.
And then another guy, and you probably hate me for this, it is Sid the Kid.
That's the one.
When's the last time he scored a goal? 1 goal in over a month now? Sid, wake up. You're killing your fantasy teams. I hope I don't have him in one of them. Oh my goodness. If I do, Sid, you're killing me. And then I'll quickly go over, there's a few other guys, but even one of the guys, Brandon Saad, he is, 89% owned?
Yeah,
and he has 1 goal in the last month as well? Come on, people. You're getting lazy on me here. Drop Saad. Move Saad for somebody. Like a guy like Zucker or somebody. And yeah, you got to sit some of these other great guys, even though they're Sid the Kid or Brent Burns. You might have to sit them for a few games.
Yeah, I agree with Brent Burns right now. He's been playing pretty poorly. And when Brent Burns opens up, it'll probably be a goal. Like, you'll see a streak.
Yeah.
But I don't know how you can sit Crosby.
It's so hard. It's so hard to. I understand.
I don't know about that. That's pretty bold.
But when you have guys,
if you have depth centermen that are hot right now, yeah, okay.
I'm mad at myself because I think I have Crosby on one of them, but then I have Nate McKinnon, and I've been playing Crosby and sitting McKinnon, and then there goes McKinnon, who's been getting so many points in the last few games, and it's really eating at me.
Well, no, he's really stepped up since the Duchesne trade.
Yeah.
He's been playing lights out.
All right, let's do some Saturday's picks. Again, go on JablameHockey.com. Check out our picks on Saturday. Before your games, they might help you make some bets. We've been doing okay. I think I did a little bit better this last Saturday.
Yeah.
But our games of the week, what are yours, Connor?
Well, I'm a big fan of rivalries in sports, so my 2 games of the week are actually 2 playoff matchups last year. The first in the East, Toronto, Washington. Washington's coming into the ACC. I will be there. I'm fired up. It's going to be a great night of hockey. Obviously, there's some bad blood there from the playoffs last year, so that'll be a good one. And then out west, I have a central matchup where Minnesota is heading into St. Louis. Obviously, the Blues took that series last year 4-1, and I think Minnesota might be able to stump the Blues a little bit. The Blues are on fire. Mm-hmm. The Blues are actually on fire. They're winning right now. They're spanking Edmonton. I think it's 4-1 currently. Milan Lucic just got the Oilers on the board.
Luch!
But there's Devin Dubnik's been playing really hot, and I feel Saturday night, I think there could be a little bit of an upset. Minnesota's been good for me on Saturday nights lately.
So you're picking Minnesota?
I'm taking Minnesota. Yeah, I'm taking the upset there, and then I like the Leafs at home.
Ooh, against Caps. All right, my games. Ducks Kings, the rivalry in California.
That's a tough pick 'em.
It is a very tough pick, but I like the matchup. I like these California teams when they play each other. It gets quite feisty.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they don't. And the thing, they have feisty players. Corey Perry, although he isn't playing like Corey Perry, he's a gutsy guy. Ryan Kessler, he's not playing either, but he's a gutsy guy. There's some really mean guys on these teams, and LA has their fair share too. That 70s line, those are some big bodies.
And then Kopitar is surprising me. I love Kopitar, but he's putting up the points this year. I think he's in the top 10. He's playing well. I'm picking the Kings. I'm going to pick the Kings in this. I think the Ducks are playing better lately, but Kings, again, I love the home teams and maybe too much. But the Kings are playing still really well this year. I'm a little shocked how well they're playing, but I'm going to go with them. Then in my other game, I don't know. I'm going to go on a stretch.
It's good.
And I'm kind of excited to see how well these guys are both playing. The Las Vegas Golden Knights, you could call them, at the desert in Arizona versus the Coyotes. I still don't know how the Coyotes are now winning games. They swept the East. They're playing well right now. They're 3 wins in a row. The game I watched versus the Leafs and a little bit that I caught versus even the Senators, they're hungrier now. They are hungrier now, and they've got a little bit some momentum now. And maybe even OEL could be on the trade market soon. So he wants to maybe start playing better either for his team or for another team in the near future. And then I still don't have a clue how the Golden Knights are still winning games. What are they, second in their division? They keep on winning games. And you were saying that Subban might be back. So
yeah,
that
Malcolm
might help him.
Malcolm Subban was cleared to play. He was actually supposed to start on the weekend, but coach decided to give him a little more time.
Mm-hmm.
So this Saturday night, I wouldn't be surprised if Subban was back in the pipes.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with the Golden Knights just because they're still winning games. They're still winning games.
Yeah, William Karlsson, 16 points right now. That's crazy. I think that's a game where it comes down to goaltending. Can one of Vegas's goalies step up? Because both teams have they're both deep with young talent, and there's going to be a couple plays where a rookie's going to pull off a nice toe drag, maybe a spinorama, a nice assist, something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to what goalie makes the more acrobatic or crazy save, and I don't know. It's going to be a tough one to call.
But it's going to be an exciting one because Arizona's now feistier, and the Golden Knights, every single game they come to play.
Yeah.
Gallant's doing a great job with those guys. All right, before we leave, quick shout out to our great blog editor, Sean Sierra, and you can find him on Twitter at SASierro, SIEIRO. And check out his blog on JablamHockey.com. He always tries to do a in case you missed it type blog. Usually it comes out Thursdays or Fridays, and it's great because you get to see a lot about how the Canadian teams went that week, and again things that you might have missed that are really cool to see and funny to see on JablamHockey.com. So make sure you check out Sean's blog for that. And that's it for this week. Again, check us out next week. We have a new Team ISO for you and maybe some other cool things. See you then.